Good morning, all. Today we are going to discuss the question paper on the chapter How Do Organisms Reproduce? And we discussed yesterday little bit, and today we are going to complete the chapter. Before commencing the chapter, let me glance up what is there for this examination. A completely asexual reproduction has been removed till spore formation has been deleted. Now, the portion is considered from sexual reproduction in plants and human beings. We all know that sexual reproduction is it is so easy. They have a beautiful part, that is flower. The flowers are two types: bisexual flowers and unisexual flowers. And the plants are two types: monoecious and dioecious. You should know these differences. Monoecious, the male plant is separate, the female plant is separate, as you find in papaya. Papaya male and female trees are separate. And dioecious, both male and female flowers are separate, but they found on the same plant. Example, coconut. Coconut tree has both male and female flowers separate on the same plant. Found on the same flower, that is hibiscus. Androecium, the male, gynoecium, the female parts are found on the same flower. And unisexual flowers, one. So such differences is so important. The questions may asked on this, a very minute part of the flowers and plants. We all know that sexual reproduction in flowering plants takes place with help of flowers. And where you find these flowers? We find the flowers in angiosperms. It is found in angiosperms. And they have different parts like sepals, petals, stamens and pistils. Stamens, androecium; pistils, gynoecium. Okay, now we'll start the question paper released by DDPI office, Kolar. Now these questions are so important for your examination purpose. Now you can go through the link regularly so that you can get update. Okay, now we'll start the session. I'm going to share the screen. Before that, let me know that whether my voice is audible and the screen is visible. I'm not getting reply from your side. Let me know whether my voice is audible and the screen is visible. Okay, fine. Then I'll share the screen. these are the questions by DDPI office. Okay, these questions we already discussed yesterday. Let me glance up. Now, as we discussed yesterday, the flowers, they undergo pollination, fertilization takes place. Now, the nature will decide the plants where the pollination is carried out by insects, wind, water, air, and even with the help of animals and even sometimes human being. Now, based on that, if the pollination takes place through the air, then they want to produce more number of pollen grains. And we know that the pollination is two types: self-pollination and cross-pollination. Self-pollination, where the male and female parts are found on the same flower and on a same plant, and they undergo pollination with the same flower, and there is no chance of getting hybridization. Whereas in cross-pollination, the anther which sheds the pollen grains and that is carried to the flower of different plant or of a same plant with the help of insects, wind, or some other agent, that leads to cross-pollination and that leads to hybridization. And we usually find hybridization for healthy plants, strong plants, strengthy plants, resistant plant, and which can give more fruiting. Because of that, we undergo hybridization. Now, the first question, the first statement is true, second statement is wrong. The duct which connects oviduct to uterus, this is slight correction you want to do. The duct which connects ovary to uterus is fallopian tube or oviduct. Oviduct is also correct answer, but you want to rectify the question as ovary to uterus. In females, the name of the part of the womb where fertilization occurs is fallopian duct or oviduct, where the fertilization takes place. In flowers, male and female are in sequence. Now, among the four options, which is the male reproductive part, that is stamen, which is female reproductive part, it is pistil. But here the joining word for stamen is ovary. Ovary is also correct answer. So stamen and ovary is the correct answer. Question 5. The steps involved from pollination to formation of seeds. The first thing is anther shedding the pollen, and pollen transfers to the stigma. Then germination of pollen tube, and pollen tube reaches ovary, and then fertilization. After fertilization, ovary develops into fruit, ovules develop into seed. This is the sequence. As per the options, A is the correct answer. Now, which of the following will not spread through the sexual contact? Now, as per the list, 3 diseases which spreads through the sexual contact has been given, that is gonorrhea, the options are syphilis, gonorrhea, warts on genital organs, and hepatitis. Now, first 3 usually spread through the sexual contact, and hepatitis spreads through contaminated food and water, even sometimes through the sexual contact, but maximum it spreads through contaminated water and the food, and hence you want to remove hepatitis. Which among the following is not advised to avoid pregnancy? Lens, condoms, kapati, loop. Among 4, lens is the odd one, and that should be removed. The number of oviducts present in female reproductive structure or system. In females, there will be 2 ovaries, 2 oviducts, and 1 uterus. Every month, 1 ovum is released from either side of the ovary. Any one ovary releases 1 egg per month, and there will be 2 oviducts for 2 ovaries. Answer is 2. What are the parts of the pistil? Stigma, style, ovary are the parts of the pistil. Stored food is accumulated usually in female gametes. Example for bisexual plant is hibiscus. Now, this is the longitudinal section of flower, and we all know that the flowers are 2 types, bisexual and unisexual. Unisexual have only 1 fertile plant, either androecium or gynoecium, and this is a typical bisexual flower where both the parts, androecium and gynoecium, are found. Along with that, there will be other structures like outermost oral is called calyx, colorful oral is called corolla or petals, and inside to that there will be oral of stamens, the male sex organ, and in the center there will be a single female structure, that is gynoecium or pistil. Stamens has 2 parts, that is anther and filament. I'll repeat, this is the question frequently asked in the board exam. What are the parts of stamen? The stamen has 2 parts, that is anther and filament. And the center one, gynoecium. Gynoecium is having 3 parts. Gynoecium, the other name is pistil. It has 3 parts, stigma, style, and ovary. So these are the questions asked on this diagram, and this diagram is there for the examination. And the diagram should go with The stigma receives the pollen with the help of it as egg cell. One of the male gamete fuses with the egg cell and fertilization takes place. As a result, zygote is formed and continuous cell division takes place, and later the ovary develops into fruit, ovules develop into seeds. You can find the development of plumule radicle. Among the monocots, cotyledons remain within the soil, whereas in dicotyledons, the cotyledons arise above the ground and later it will shed off. Now, which is the part which develop as root and shoot? Plumule develop as shoot, radicle develop as root, cotyledons nourishes the germinating plant. What are the common changes that occurs both in boys and girls during teenage periods? The first thing is hormonal changes. As we know that among the males, testosterone will get released. Among the females, estrogen, progesterone hormones get released. And because of these hormonal changes, and also during puberty, pituitary gland secretions also plays a major role in deciding the personality and the development of hair at the personal regions, change of the voice both in male, common problem among the teenagers or adolescent people. What is puberty? The rate of general body growth begins slow and reproductive begin to mature, and they enter from childhood to the adulthood. That is known as reaching puberty. Name the common tube which unites and forms a common passage both for sperms and urine. Urinary bladder forms a common tube, and urethra forms a common passage for both sperms and urine. Name the two glands present along with the path of vas deferens. Prostate and seminal vesicles are the two glands found along with the path of vas deferens. Vas deferens carries the sperms, and prostate and seminal vesicles secrete the secretions, and this fluid helps the sperms to live alive and to transfer from male to the female. Name the tube through which the egg is carried from ovary to the womb in females, that is fallopian tube or oviduct. Both are correct answers. Okay, these were the questions we discussed yesterday, and now we'll continue the same chapter today and we'll complete this chapter. Okay, now when I share the screen, so is there any problem with the audio or it is clear? Okay, I'm not getting reply from your side. Okay, fine Priyanka, if it is audible then there is no problem with the network. Very good. Okay, fine. Okay, we'll continue. Explain how fertilized egg will grow sperm and ovum. Egg. Now they develop organs. This is how the egg converts into fetus. Name the tissue form Name the tissue that from which embryo gets nutrition from the mother's blood. It is placenta. Placenta helps providing the nutrition from to the embryo or fetus. Explain the structure of placenta briefly. This is a disc which is embedded in the uterine wall, that is in the uterus. It contains villi or finger-like projections on the embryo side of the tissue. On the mother's side, blood spaces. It surrounds the villi. This provides a large surface area for glucose and oxygen to pass from the mother to the developing fetus. The developing embryo will also generate the waste as it uses the nutrition and produces the waste, which will be removed by the blood through the placenta. This is how the food is supplied in the form of glucose and oxygen to the embryo or fetus with the help of placenta. Name the different ways which were advised to avoid pregnancy. This comes under reproductive health on birth control methods are so important in India because India has very huge population. In order to control the population, these methods are being adopted. The first method, use of condoms. Method, use of. Fourth option, surgical methods, where tubectomy and vasectomy, these are the two methods, and even laparoscopy, this is the other method for permanent birth control. Okay, these were the four different methods we use for birth control. And the process of sexual reproduction, why DNA replication is so important. The surviving cells are similar to their parents, or they may different from the parent. It is all based on the crossing over takes place during prophase 1. Prophase 1. If the crossing over is much effective, then that leads to more variations. And all this possible only on the DNA of the chromosome. So, in order to bring up the variations, DNA plays a major role. And DNA is the genetic material, and DNA is so important to bring stability among the organisms. If there is no DNA replication, if there is no DNA, definitely the genetic material doesn't transfer from one organism to another organism, and we won't look similar. Write the functions of testosterone. It regulates sex drive among the males. They regulate bone mass. They regulate fat distribution. And they also involve in production of red blood cells. Actually, the red blood cells are developed in bone marrow. Even it involves in the production of red blood cells, and the major part is sperms. Differentiate between male and female reproductive system. Male sexual organs. The testes and scrotum produce male gametes in a form called sperms. Ovary produces ovum as a female gamete from one of the ovary every month, and after fertilization the womb protects and nourishes the fetus, and this is not possible in males. Why menstrual cycle takes place in females. When pregnancy does not occur, the uterus sheds lining which had grown to receive a fertilized egg. So this takes place every month among the females after puberty. What is menstrual cycle? Uterus sheds lining of the tissue along with the blood every month. This is due to rise and fall of hormones, and even this is also ovulation. And what is ovulation? Ovulation is the release of mature egg from one of the ovary every month in women is known as ovulation. It starts from the teenage till the age of 45 to 50 years among the women's. After that, they reach menopause. Menopause, where the ovulation or menstruation cycle stops. What is the major importance of DNA replication in process of reproduction? DNA copying is very essential part of reproduction because organism entire genetic information is contained within the DNA. At the end of cell division, receive equal amount of DNA, and it helps in maintaining the stability of the population. So DNA replication is so important in reproduction. Differentiate between pollination and fertilization. Transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of a flower is known as pollination. There are two types: self-pollination and cross-pollination. Self-pollination, transfer of pollen to the of flower is known as pollination. The transfer of pollen to the stigma of different flower of a different plant or a same plant is known as cross pollination. Always cross pollination is considered to be better as it leads to hybridization for more healthy, strong, resistant plants. Fertilization, it is just fusion of male and female gametes, forming a diploid zygote, and later the diploid zygote develops into new organism by repeated cell division. What are the functions of vas deferens and prostate gland? Vas deferens, where the sperms formed are delivered through the tube called vas deferens, which unites with the tube coming from the urinary bladder, and the prostate gland urethra. And these are the functions. Predetermined of sex of fetus is prohibited. Justify the statement. The government has banned the determination of fetus under the prenatal diagnostic techniques regulation and prevention of misuse Act 1994, which was amended in 2002. And this work is done. Why we have to ban the predetermination? The human being need a child in order to satisfy their parenthood. They need the child in order to satisfy their parenthood. But because of some misconcept, they started determining the sex, that is male or female, and later if they confirm that it is female and that is being aborted, and because of that the ratio of females being reduced when it compared to the 1,000 boys or males. And this is only the reason why the decline of females in India been done. And because of that decline, the government banned the determination of fetus. Now, why the ultrasound scanning is done? It is only to check the fetus condition, whether it has good heartbeat, whether all the parts are grown better, in case if any defect in the fetus, if there is hole in a heart, or some parts are not being developed, or some other a major problem which cannot be rectified when the birth takes place. In such conditions, that fetus been aborted. So this was done to check an alarming decline in the number of girls born for every 1,000 boys in a country. This was done aiming to prevent selective abortion. So, predetermined of the sex of the fetus is prohibited in order to abortions. Okay, these were the questions. We discussed the complete answers. Now, you have to go through the question and answers and keep this question paper. Complete question answers and there will be test. Okay, this time you all had the problem. When I shared the screen second time, you all had the problem. The voice is not audible. Okay, fine. Only few you all had the problem, but no problem. So the link will be left. So you want to go through the question and answers completely, okay, and note down the question and answers. Everybody note down the question and answers and get ready for tomorrow test. There will be test tomorrow on the same chapter. Okay. Good. Today there was no problem at all. Okay. Okay. We just completed only one chapter and all of you go through the questions and answers and also diagrams and get prepared for tomorrow test. Okay. Now before that, how you want to, and then you write the answer with C. Okay. Okay, all of you. Okay, just I'll end up the class. Okay, see you all soon with the next model paper. Okay, thank you for your visit, watching and learning. Thank you one and all. Okay, deleted lesson tick. Okay. For the how do organisms reproduce, you want to read it from page number 43 for this chapter 43 to 49. Okay, when I go with the next chapter, I'll save the deleted portion of that lesson on that class. Okay, clear?